Some of the big names in Hollywood started young, only to disappear from the spotlight later. But their stories didn't end there. Let's explore how exactly the child stars defied the odds. Cole Sprouse. Cole and his twin brother Dylan started booking acting gigs when they were only 8 months old.
Yeah, with diaper commercials.
The reason for starting so young was quite mundane.
Well, my mother needed an income. I mean, it started really as a means to put bread on the table and also allow my mother at the same time to be a mother.
The brothers shared roles in movies, like Big Daddy, and eventually landed their own Disney television series, The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. Cole also worked independently from his twin, for instance on Friends. But after almost 2 decades of constant work, the two decided to stay away from the industry. In 2011, they enrolled at New York University, where Cole studied archaeology, while Dylan pursued a degree in video game design. Both agree that taking a break from Hollywood was the right decision. And 4 years later, Cole chose to get back into acting.
The pressure of my upbringing really compelled me to continue doing what I am today. I cannot live without the arts. I mean, I cannot live without performance or expression in some kind, because it's truly all I know.
However, Cole set a firm deadline for himself. I went over to California from New York for a single week, and I told my manager, if I don't book anything this pilot season, I'm never coming back to this. Fortunately, during that week, he did book the role of Jughead Jones on Riverdale. Cole has been on the show for its 7 seasons. When the series wrapped, the actor starred in the films Lisa Frankenstein and I Wish You All the Best. Sprouse is now 32. And this year, fans may see Cole in the British crime thriller, The Rivals of Amzia King. His brother Dylan continues working in the industry too, appearing mostly in independent projects. Mara Wilson. You definitely remember her as an adorable girl from the movies like Mrs. Doubtfire and Matilda. Wilson became interested in acting when she was 5, and although her parents first disapprove of it, they let Mara pursue her passion.
You know, children in Canada play ice hockey, and children in Los Angeles, they go on auditions. So it wasn't that big of a deal, and my parents never thought I would become famous, which is the only reason that they let me do it.
But she was an absolute natural and became a real star. Sadly, Mara lost her mother very early. Actually, it happened even before her most successful film, Matilda, premiered.
Sometimes I think I should have stopped acting after she died. I think I felt a little burned out on acting. I wasn't sure I wanted to do it anymore.
But at the same time, her job became that one constant the girl had in those tragic circumstances. So she continued appearing on screen. However, things have changed since the child star hit her tweens.
I was starting to notice that at that point in my life, I didn't have that Hollywood beauty.
Wilson decided to leave the increasingly toxic environment behind, and that was a relief.
I felt like this great weight lifted because it wasn't my job to be pretty or thin or anything for anybody. You know, it wasn't my job anymore.
Mara focused on writing instead. The 37-year-old is now a published author and voice actor. Most recently, her voice can be heard on the podcast series VAM PD. Freddie Highmore. The Brit became known in the early 2000s for the roles in such high-profile films as Finding Neverland and Charlie in the Chocolate Factory. But Freddie actually started acting a few years earlier, at the age of 7, and continued to actively work until he was 16, when Highmore decided to take a break from his career.
And then did you go to college as well?
Yes, I went and did languages, Arabic and Spanish.
Freddie also enrolled at the London School of Economics to study finance, and briefly considered becoming a lawyer. He even worked in a law firm at one point.
I guess I've always had interest beyond acting.
The actor explained that he had to give them a try before making acting his adult and active decision. His hiatus lasted for about 4 years. And in 2013, Freddie returned to his craft with his critically acclaimed role in Bates Motel. And his next role on The Good Doctor was perhaps an even bigger success. The 33-year-old will soon appear in his new project, the crime thriller series The Assassin. Drew Barrymore. Born into an acting dynasty, she was put to work in commercials at the age of 11 months. At 6, she became famous for her role in Steven Spielberg's sci-fi hit.
Want to talk about E.T. a little bit?
Why not?
Okay.
Drew went on to star in Firestarter and Cat's Eye, among many other movies. But working in the industry led her down a tough path. Barrymore developed a drinking problem at 11 and a substance addiction at 12. At the rebellious age of 13, she went into a rehab for a year and a half.
My mom put me in a place that was like a full psychiatric ward.
This strained Barrymore's relationship with her parents, and at 14, she legally separated from them. Later, the actress admitted that she understood her mother's reasons.
I think she created a monster, and she didn't know what to do with the monster.
At 15, unable to get acting jobs, Drew had to clean toilets to make a living. By her mid-20s, she'd been married and divorced twice, and honestly, she didn't think she'd make it to 25. As part of getting her life back on track, Barrymore shared her wild story in 2 memoirs. She really worked hard to rebuild her acting career, and she did it, landing roles in Charlie's Angels and 50 First Dates. Drew also started directing and became a big-time movie producer. Now, at 50, she's a mother of 2 and a popular TV host. Huy Quan. He got famous playing Short Round in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, and Data in The Goonies. However, after those big hits, Quan couldn't find any more acting work.
When you work with Steven Spielberg and Harrison Ford and George Lucas, you can't go anywhere but downhill from there.
He only had a few small parts as a young adult, so he moved behind the camera instead. For the next 19 years, he worked as a stunt choreographer and assistant director. Thankfully,
Good things come to people who wait.
Quan finally landed the supporting role in Everything Everywhere All at Once. And this performance won him various accolades, including a Golden Globe and an Oscar. Mayim Bialik. A lot of the Big Bang Theory fans had no clue Mayim was a sitcom star back in her teens. She played the title character on Blossom for 5 years. And that's not even counting all her appearances on shows like Beauty and the Beast and MacGyver.
And Richard Dean Anderson took me as his date to the 100th episode party in Vancouver. It wasn't as weird as it sounds.
But once she hit 19, Bialik largely stopped acting for about 10 years. She put all her energy into school instead.
I got my PhD in neuroscience from UCLA.
Mayim also started a family and had 2 kids. But she still had a passion for acting, and in 2010, Bialik was cast as Amy Farrah Fowler on The Big Bang Theory. At first, it was just a guest spot, but everyone, the team and the fans, loved her. So the actress ended up in 203 episodes of the show. Plus, she got 4 Primetime Emmy Award nominations, and a bunch of other awards too. After The Big Bang wrapped up, Mayim got her own sitcom, Call Me Kat. And this year, she's set to star in the comedy drama Father, Mother, Sister, Brother, alongside Cate Blanchett and Adam Driver. Bialik also co-hosts a successful podcast on mental health awareness, together with her partner Jonathan. Macaulay Culkin. He is easily one of the most recognized child actors in history.
Are you familiar with my work? I do get recognized more this time of year, I think.
Macaulay got into showbiz at 4 and became massively famous at 10. After the Home Alone movies, he racked up many credits, starring in films such as The Good Son and Richie Rich. However, the actor retired from acting in his early teens. That was partly because of Culkin's strained relationship with his father. The former child star alleged that Kit was physically and mentally abusive and resentful of his career success. Everything he tried to do in life, I excelled at before I was 10 years old, he explained. Macaulay also revealed that his dad pressured him to work even when he was totally over it. Culkin removed Kit from managing his finances and finally took a much-needed break. He viewed it as a chance to achieve some normalcy in his youth. When I stopped, I just thought it was over, and I was never, ever going to do it again. I was just hoping to disappear off the face of the earth. It took me about 6 years to figure out you can't back out of this. He didn't come back to acting until almost 10 years later, in a 2003 film, Party Monster. Now, at 44, he only does projects he wants to do.
Like I said, I don't pursue it in any kind of any way. I don't have agents anymore and things like that.
He's had some awesome roles in shows like American Horror Story and The Righteous Gemstones. Miranda Cosgrove. She became a household name after starring in School of Rock and Drake and Josh, and on her own hit show iCarly, of course.
I was 13 when I started.
13 to what age?
Until I was about 20.
The series ended in 2012 after 6 seasons run. Miranda decided to take a hiatus to attend college. However, she knew she'd come back on screen. I definitely want to act. That's why I want to major in film. The most important thing is to find a good story. I'm hoping to find something that's right. During her time off, she lent her voice to Margot in Despicable Me series of films. And in 2021, Cosgrove's career came full circle when she reprised her role in a revival of iCarly. The 31-year-old also has a new project in the works, romantic comedy The Wrong Paris. Anna Chlumsky. The young actress has been acting practically since she was born.
I was put in commercials and things since I was a baby. I was 10 months old when I did my first print ad. So yeah, no chance to be a person yet, at all.
But then the movie My Girl became a huge surprise hit, and her life totally changed. Suddenly she was being interviewed, all by herself, talking about her first kiss with Macaulay Culkin.
You find Macaulay attractive, do you, Anna?
After the My Girl sequel and a few other movies, Chlumsky had to take a break from Hollywood. Throughout my adolescence, I was not getting booked. I was told I was too fat or too ugly, she recalled. But Anna used that time to get her education. She attended the University of Chicago, where she majored in international studies. After graduating, she worked in publishing for a bit, but eventually went back to acting. Her biggest gig, TV series Veep, got her 6 Emmy nominations. The 44-year-old has also been in shows like Hannibal, Inventing Anna, and Evil. Kieran Culkin. Actually, all of Macaulay Culkin's 6 siblings were into acting as kids, and the most successful of them turned out to be Kieran. 2 years younger than Macaulay, he started out with a small part in Home Alone. After that, he worked steadily in films like Father of the Bride and Nowhere to Run. At 20, he really made a name for himself with a role in Igby Goes Down, which got him a Golden Globe nomination. But then, Kieran vanished from the screen for 6 whole years. Turns out, he just couldn't deal with all the attention that came with being famous. So he needed some time to figure out if he actually wanted to be an actor or not. Kieran started focusing on the acting gigs he really cared about. Even though he mostly did theater, since 2008, he's been doing movies like Scott Pilgrim vs. the World and shows like Fargo. 10 years forward, his career hit new heights when he played Roman Roy on Succession. And this year, he won his first Oscar for Best Supporting Actor in the movie A Real Pain.
I have no idea how I got here. I've just been acting my whole life. It's just been a part of what I do, so I felt like this was never my trajectory.
But we're pretty sure the 42-year-old is just being super modest, and maybe that's his secret to success. Which of these actors is your favorite? Let us know in the comments. And stay awesome.